Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I'm going to talk about a variety of topics, mostly video games. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I'm going to dive right in. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Dying Light. Some of the stuff I'm going to chat about here are games that I haven't actually gotten to play yet. I thought about it, and then for whatever reason, I chose not to. I liked the first Dying Light pretty well. I thought it was kind of fun. A friend and I played fairly extensively on the PlayStation, and we would get to a point where he was having vertigo and motion sickness pretty fast after a while. It really started to bother him. So we didn't actually finish it together, but I did manage to finish that game, and I liked it for the most part. I kind of looked forward to Dying Light 2. When it came out, I did play it, and I ended up refunding it. I didn't really have that much fun with that one for whatever reason. There was just something about it that just felt lacking. It wasn't that I thought it was a bad game per se. It just wasn't the game I wanted at that time. I've been thinking about trying The Beast, but I'm not entirely sure how I feel about how the story has gone. And I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that sort of, parkour, melee zombie fighting thing has just sort of run its course for me. I'm not entirely sure. But I am curious, if anybody out there has actually played Dying Light 2 more extensively than I did, and again, I only played for about an hour and a half before I got to refund it, or if you've played The Beast, please let me know if you think it's awesome. I'd love to know from somebody who's actually had an opportunity to put it through some paces and tell me what you think. Is it a game that, I should give it a try too? We've got the Steam sale right now. Maybe it's on sale. I haven't looked yet. But I do want to talk about the autumn sale in a few moments as well. So the next game I want to talk about is Silent Hill F. Now, in theory, I love survival horror games. I love Resident Evil. I love the idea behind them. But then I end up playing them and I find myself mostly frustrated. Not necessarily with the older Resident Evils like Resident Evil 3 and 2 and even to a lesser extent 4 to a certain point, but like the newer ones, The Village and that sort of thing, I just found those to be very frustrating for me. Mostly I think this comes down to the fact that I completely suck at them and my reaction times are terrible or something. I don't know. They don't click with me very well as far as the gameplay loop is concerned, and that's entirely on me. I still think they're awesome to watch and see other people play them. And when they make movies, I generally like them. But in the case of survival gaming in general, I tend to find that it's just a little bit more difficult than I want to indulge. Which leads me to Silent Hill, the redo or remaster or whatever they did, and then Silent Hill F. I don't know much about the previous one. I do know that I thought the graphics looked great. What I just read about Silent Hill F is that it's actually got a bunch of combat in it and boss battles and gear and all this other stuff. And I didn't really think that's what Silent Hill was all about. Now, to be fair, I've actually never played a Silent Hill game. I was just looking at this one going, that looks fun. And then I read about it and I'm like, ooh, wait, they're kind of comparing it to like Souls-like games. And I backed away slowly because, see the aforementioned me sucking at those kind of games. But this is one of those games that has mostly positive reviews, and I'd love to hear from other people. What do you think of this game, Silent Hill F? Does it depart from the other games significantly? Is it one of those situations where all of a sudden there's this crazy combat system that shouldn't be there, or have they always had it? I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Silent Hill, other than I've seen the crazy movie. And I've seen some gameplay, and I've looked at a lot of really cool imagery from it. But beyond that, that's pretty much where my expertise lies. Obviously, I can look this up myself, but, engagement is fun. So I will say that Silent Hill F looks freaking awesome. I think the graphics are nice, and I've read that the story was pretty cool. Some people complained it was ham-fisted, but I don't know what that necessarily means. But again, if you've played it, let me know. Or if you got an opinion, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. As far as I'm concerned, it's currently not something I would spend full price on, but I will probably look at it when it drops on sale. The next thing I want to talk about are Souls-like games in general. Elden Ring, actually Dark Souls, just those really hard mode games where you fight bosses that are just completely nuts. Like the boss fights are just crazy. I have played a couple of these games. I got caught up on Elden Ring and I bought it. And I even did some pretty cheesy stuff to buy myself some levels. I followed this crazy tutorial thing I found online where I had to ride way the heck out into the middle of nowhere and kill something, and I got like 40 levels right off the bat. And then I went and I fought the first boss, and I literally could not take him. I was able to take other things that I thought were bosses, but when I actually fought a real boss, no chance. And this is mirrored in another game I played. I can't remember the name, but it was on Xbox Game Pass, and it looked so cool. It was kind of a kung fu inspired thing with like monsters out of Chinese fantasy film or whatever. And I remember trying that game, and I got to not a boss, but like a sub-boss dude, and he just cleaned me up. So I tried to play the game the way that a friend said, which was, the monsters continually respawn. So I just sort of grinded the monsters for a little while until I got up to a certain level. I was able to take on the sub boss and I beat him. I'm like, hey, that was kind of cool. Then I got to the actual boss, and there's just so many mechanics and timing and all this crazy stuff. I managed to beat his first phase. I thought, sweet, that wasn't so bad. I only died like 9 times. I thought these games were much harder than that. Well, that was only his first of 3 phases. It turns out I couldn't even get him halfway through the second phase, and I gave up on that. My thing is, I think those games look cool as hell. They have great graphics. The gameplay is actually pretty fun, but I just don't have the patience for that kind of boss fighting anymore. I get frustrated easily. I don't remember a time when I did have that kind of patience. I did have patience for other things when I was young. Things like figuring out the system to make the most amount of money in a trade game. I played this Uncharted Waters when I was in high school. And my first full night, I just made these trips back and forth from the New World to Europe selling coral of all things. And once I did that, I was able to buy some guns and start my first fight. And then my very first combat in that, the next day, I had overwhelming resources, so I was able to buy some really great stuff. I committed an act of piracy, and I was able to make more in a 25-minute battle than I did in an 8-hour session of just trading. It was hilarious. And that's the kind of thing I had the patience for. I could do that grinding, and I can even do the grinding in some of these games. But when it comes to the fighting of the bosses, I don't know. I think I could develop the skill to do it. I think I could if I was willing to devote the time to it. But I'm just not. And it's not the game's fault. It's totally me. There's other games to play. Souls-like games aren't necessarily for me. Elden Ring, I didn't get that far. Even when I saw all these awesome builds and I was just salivating to try some of them, I was like, this is not for me to go through the hassle, or should I say the frustration, to get to the point of being able to try those cool things. But I am curious, are you a Souls-like fan? Do you play those games? Are they the kinds of things that you can tear through, or do you like that risk versus reward thing? And I know that's part of it, is that, maybe you do die 25 times learning every nuance of the boss, and then you pull it off, and then there's that dopamine rush of success. I don't really get that. I just feel like I wasted a lot of time. And it's a mindset thing. It's sort of like when I was playing Borderlands 4, I was thinking of it in one way, like it was just a first-person shooter adventure game. And then I sort of shifted my thought to make it an MMO. And then all of a sudden, the quests of running around and picking stuff up just clicked, and it became fun, which is kind of funny because I can't really find a mindset shift for the Souls-like games. If I can, I will definitely try them, and maybe I will enjoy them more. The ones that I have tried, that I know the names of, I've tried Bloodborne and I tried Elden Ring. I really wish I could remember the third one. But anyway, let me know what you think. Are you a big fan? I'd love to hear from you. Now I want to talk about a couple of other things that are kind of interesting to me mostly. Game Pass. I've had Game Pass for a long time, Xbox Game Pass. And I have been checking it quite frequently to see if new things have come out, and I haven't found anything worth grabbing since Atom Fall. Yeah. And even that game I didn't really dig that much. So I'm kind of surprised that so little has been coming out for it that is, of note. There are some lesser games. When I say lesser, that's not entirely fair. Let's just say AA or indie games that have come out. And those have been cool looking, but I haven't been compelled to download or install them. And I find that interesting because Game Pass really should be pumping out all kinds of new stuff all the time. Bigger titles or something. I don't know. Or at least finding bigger titles from people, other developers. But they haven't really been doing that. And even with like Indiana Jones, it seems like you have to buy the expansion. Not that I beat the original game entirely, but there is that. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about Game Pass these days. I do kind of feel like I'm wasting my money on it. It used to be that every month or two there was something really big or something really cool to try. But now that has spread out to like once every 3 months, there's something new that I want to try. I did play Avowed on it, and I did play Atom Fall, and I did see the Diablo 4 is on there. That's kind of cool. But by and large, I don't know. What do you guys think of Game Pass? Do you have it? Do you use it a lot? Are there any games on there that are must try? I find the interface to be a little bit less than intuitive to find cool things. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. And if there is something on there I should be trying, please let me know. I'd love to jump on there. The next thing on my list here is the Steam Autumn Sale. So I just got that notification today, and I flipped through it, and I think maybe it's just me, but these sales don't feel as exciting as they did even 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was like, yes, I can't wait. Now I'm like, oh, look, it's 10% off a game. I mean, there's any money off is good money off, right? But I mean, in some cases, it's like, dude, $3 off of a $50 game. What are you doing? What's the point? It's not like that's going to be the thing that pushes me over the edge. It's like when Best Buy occasionally does sales on Mac computers, and it goes from like $19.99 to $1,800. You're like, yeah, that $199 was not what was holding me back from buying a Mac today. And it's the same kind of thing with some of these games. For example, I would really like to play Horizon Zero Dawn on the PC. I want to get the complete edition. It has been full price forever, and it's dropped down to $35. Now that's a fairly reasonable discount, except for the fact the game's freaking old now. It just doesn't feel like that's a significant enough reduction to make it worth it, considering I don't remember exactly how old it is, but it's more than 4 years, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. And maybe I'm just a cheap bastard, too. I mean, there's that. Maybe I'm just like, I want some cheaper cuts. And they're like, dude, you got to pay something. But I don't know. I haven't really been excited for a Steam sale in a while. Mostly because once you go and look, they're okay, but they're not dramatic. They're not as like fire sale style as back in the day. What do you guys think? Am I crazy there? Have you found any games that have like a great deal that are just buried deeper into the algorithm that I'm not seeing? Let me know. I'd like to hop on there and find something. I think it'd be pretty cool. And the final thing I want to talk about today is Warhammer Dark Heresy, the game by Owlcat, sort of a follow-up to Rogue Trader. So I have been seeing advertisements for it all over the place. I finally saw something that said it isn't coming out until 2026. This kind of reminds me of Hellraiser, because I have seen advertisements for Hellraiser every freaking day, and they still don't have a release date, but they do have the option for you to spend $200 on, collector's crap. I just find that kind of funny. I'm like, I will buy your game. Just tell me when it's coming out. I'm not giving you $200 for stuff when, we're in the boat where Bloodlines was at, where we don't even know when it's coming out. And anyway, back to Dark Heresy. So I got an email from Owlcat that offered me the opportunity to pre-order the game through them, which is kind of cool. It means that you could get like some physical stuff if you want, or you can get the digital versions. One of them is exclusive access to the beta. I don't know exactly understand why it's exclusive, but maybe it's just for pre-order people. And I thought that'd be kind of cool. I can give it a try, show it off. Who knows when that beta is coming? Who knows specifically when the game's coming? It just said 2026. That could be at the beginning. It could be next freaking October. Who knows? It looks pretty close to done. And other than like working out all of the story details, they've already built the engine. It looks exactly like Rogue Trader. It's just set in a different place with different kinds of characters. So I'm not entirely sure what's taking that one so long. Or maybe it didn't take very long. Maybe they whipped it out real quick. I anticipate that if it's even half as long as freaking Rogue Trader, it's going to be an absurdly long role-playing game. So I'm kind of excited about it. Not so excited about it that I gave them the full price thing that they wanted, like $80 or something. I bought the middle tier. But I'm curious. Is anybody else excited about Dark Heresy? I think it's going to be great. I'm a little confused as to why the Inquisitor is going to be running around with so many Xenos. That's just... I can't wait to see the story reasons for that. Or if you can be a complete maniac and like off them or something. Who knows? It's going to be wild. I have the original Dark Heresy role-playing game from 2008 over on the shelf right over here. And I loved that game. I thought it was a really cool idea. I had come from playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, which uses the same system, basically. That they updated for the Dark Heresy. So you get 40k role playing. And then, of course, they released Rogue Trader and Only War and Death Watch, all kinds of stuff. Bunch of expansions for it that are all awesome. But I thought it was very interesting that we got a Dark Heresy game from Alcat coming. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know about what you think about Dark Heresy. Are you excited about it? Do you care? Did you love Rogue Trader? Did you hate it? Did you think it needed to be more? Let me know in the comments. But I think that's enough. I just kind of wanted to talk about those things briefly and, offer the opportunity for some engagement. This is Robert with Society Case Files signing off.